Welcome to the West Virginia Legislature on the West Virginia Channel. I'm Beth Voorhees. Here's a live look into the House of Delegates at the state capitol in Charleston. We're preparing for a public hearing on Senate Bill 298, nicknamed the Brunch Bill, allowing restaurants, private clubs, distilleries, mini distilleries, and wineries to sell and serve alcohol beginning at 10 a.m. on Sundays. It's sponsored by Senator Chris Walters of Putnam County. It passed the Senate on February 16th, 34-0. It now sits before the House Committee on the Judiciary. It was before the House Committee on Roads and Transportation. It passed out of that committee and is now before the Committee on the Judiciary. And we will join this public hearing as soon as it begins. Please stand by.
Okay. You want to grab the list? I'll just tell them we're going to start in a minute or two. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start in just a minute or two. So if you have not signed up to speak, please come and do so immediately. And as you may or may not know, we're on a tight schedule because we're close to the end of session. So we're only going to have 30 minutes total. So I'll give you another minute or so to sign up if you wish to do that.
Is Delegate Patrick Lane of Kanawha County, the Vice Chair of the House Judiciary Committee.
Are there really? Nobody opposed?
The committee chair is Delegate John Schott of Mercer County, Chair of the House Judiciary Committee.
Ready? Good morning. We'll call this public hearing to consider Senate Bill 298 to order. This is a hearing being conducted by the House Judiciary Committee for input regarding Senate Bill 298. I will remind each of you who has signed up to speak, as well as those of you who are in the gallery and the audience, that we do stream these proceedings live. So please conduct yourself accordingly. We ask that you refrain from any type of emotional outburst, whether it's either pro or con on the issue that we're considering. We have a relatively limited period of time to conduct this session, so I'm going to ask each of you speakers to try to limit your remarks to about a minute and a half or so. If you'll notice, there's a podium up here with a box and a red light on it. When that red light goes on, that indicates your time is up. And if you would, please wrap up your comments after you see that red light. If you have written materials that you'd like for our committee to consider, if you'd please file them with the clerk, who is the gentleman to my left, second gentleman to my left, and he will distribute those among our committees. We also have copies of the bill, the latest version of the bill, on the table up here in the front if you'd like to get a copy. I will caution you, though, that once this bill is being considered by the committee, there could be changes made, and in most cases there are. We work these bills pretty hard and look at them very carefully, so there may be some changes that are made if the bill comes out of the committee. I'll be calling you alternatively, two at a time. The first person will be the speaker that's to come to the podium. The second name will be the person who's on deck, so to speak. So if you would, when your name is called second, or if I say followed by, please move as close to the front as you can without interrupting the speaker so that you're close by. I will also ask those of you who address the committee, if you would please stay around to the conclusion of the hearing in case members would like to ask some questions. They may want to ask them publicly or privately, but it would be helpful if you're available and can, if you'll stay till the end of the hearing. Our first presenter is Alicia, I'm not sure, Bailey, and she will be followed by Frank Jorgensen. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Elisa Bailey. I'm the president of the Charleston Convention and Visitors Bureau. I hope you've read in the paper that our city is planning for the future in tourism. We have had $200 million that are currently being invested in public and private projects, renovations, and of course, our convention center. This is about image. This is about expectation of our visitors. Visitors from Virginia, visitors from Pennsylvania, visitors from Ohio, who come in and they expect to have brunch. They expect to go to Sunday restaurants as early as 10:30 and have a mimosa. These are not the people that we have to worry about drunk driving. These are people who want to have a nice time in Charleston. We encourage these convention goers to stay early, stay late, or come early to Charleston. And when they go into a restaurant and they're disappointed, that means we can't get them back. We need these tools in the toolbox. We need this government regulation to allow our restaurants to make more money and hire more people and extend their hours. These are transitional jobs. These are jobs that allow people to go to school. These are jobs that allow people to get off welfare rolls. Important for the restaurant community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Frank Jorgensen, followed by Annette Gavin.
My name is Frank Jorgensen. I'm chairman of the West Virginia Hospitality and Travel Association. You may ask, what difference does 3 hours make on a Sunday? Well, in Georgia, it made $100 million difference. For West Virginia, it's estimated to be about $20 million in additional revenue in the first year. Snowshoe Resort alone estimates that they will have about $500,000 more in sales with allowing the brunch bill to pass. It's also jobs. There are 76,000 West Virginians that work in restaurants, and that will only help the restaurant business. Tourism is the third largest industry in the state. It does about $5 billion. And as Elisa said, the image, and I want to paint a picture. I'm involved in Adventures on the Gorge. It's a whitewater rafting company. Very often on a Sunday, there are groups of people from surrounding states. They've gone on a canopy tour. It's over at about 11:30. They go to Chetty's restaurant. They have a hamburger. They see ads for various crafts beer. They want to have a crafts beer with their hamburger, and they're told they can't. It just destroys the image of West Virginia. It gets them joking and saying what's wrong with this state. There are only 12 states in the United States that prohibit Sunday sales of alcohol. And why is it that West Virginia tries to wait until they're number 45 or 48 or 50 to make the change? We need to attract the younger millennials. The last point I want to make is that I know there's been talk of having a county ordinance option. We would ask that language be inserted to make it an opt-out so that the law would let all 55 counties in, and then if a county wanted to have a referendum to vote it, they could. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. Annette Gavin, followed by Kathleen Panic.
Good morning. My name is Annette Gavin, and I am a secretary for the West Virginia Association of CVBs and the CEO for Jefferson County CVB. I'm here today, of course, to speak on behalf of Brunch Bill and our support of it. The West Virginia Association of CVBs is comprised of over 30 different CVBs across our state, and they are dedicated to the primary mission, which is to promote local attractions, events, tourist-related businesses, and activities throughout our state, and to grow the local economy. In a study by Dean Runyon for 2014, Jefferson County had a visitor spend of $756 million. Of that $756 million, $176 million was given back to our local and state government, proving once again that tourism is the economic generator. Annually, our CVBs across the state handed out over 1 million travel guides last year to visitors and spent almost $6 million in marketing. Jefferson County inserted 100,000 visitor guides in the Washington Post last year to households in the DC metro area, just telling visitors we're an hour away. Come visit Jefferson County, discover it all. How is this important to this bill? Let me tell you, because tourism works for our state. Also, because at the same time we are out there marketing ourselves to our surrounding state, we are also in direct competition to those who are used to a level of service that they're accustomed to in their own state. This bill's not about alcohol. This bill's about a partnership between the state and our local government and tourism industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gavin. Kathleen Panic, I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, sir, you
Followed by Lynette Zudd. She's not here. Okay.
I'm Kathleen Panic. I'm representing the West Virginia Bed and Breakfast Association. As you all know, you're well aware of the fact that we are a rural state. The beer, the microbreweries, the wineries, and now some distilleries have started up. They are starting to be an integral part of the tourism of this state. My guests have to check out by 11 o'clock. They are not going to delay going home for 3 hours to be able to stop and buy a bottle of wine or a little bit of moonshine. I can't tell my guests that are going back to Pennsylvania, Maryland, and the DC area, by the way, you're going right past Heston Farms Winery and Pinchgut Hollow Distillery. You might want to stop and sample what they have and take some home. I can't tell those that are heading south, you're going right by Lambert's Winery in Weston. You might want to stop and see what they have and take some home. We're losing out. It's tax money that's being generated, it's revenue that's being generated, and it's helping these wineries stay in business. I believe in sharing the wealth, and I send my guests to these wineries as much as I possibly can. Please pass this bill. What's the difference? 10 o'clock? 1 o'clock? They're going to get it anyway, but this way, we're going to get those going home. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Panic. Lynette Zudd, followed by Christian Azam. Hope I pronounced that right. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Lynette Ludwizak, and I don't have a winery, I don't have a business or anything like that. I'm just an ordinary citizen, and I'm here to speak about the brunch bill. I came here, West Virginia. I've been here about 11 years. I'm a Kanawha County resident, and I love this state. It's beautiful. We have a lot of positives to offer. When I came here and I elected people, I elected them so that they did the best for the state. And allowing this brunch bill to pass is going to bring in revenue for the state. I don't understand the difference between 1 o'clock versus 10 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's not going to change my habits, my personality. I don't think anybody is going to change anybody. The people who are going to church, go to church. People who are going to go to brunch are going to go to brunch. And those that want to drink can drink if we give them that choice. And that's all I'm saying here is give people the choice to make their own decision whether or not they should or can have a drink. And if it increases revenue, that's all the better for the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Christian Azam? Azam, sorry.
Thank you. No problem.
Followed by Natalie Roper.
Good morning. My name is Christian Azam. I'm part of the owning family of the Bavarian Inn in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to comment today. Our business, the Bavarian Inn, has 72 hotel rooms that can seat 300 for dining. We employ 100 employees year-round, and we've been in business for 39 years. We're located in the Eastern Panhandle, which is surrounded by the border states of Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. None of these surrounding states restrict alcohol sales on Sundays like we do. Our guests have options of where to dine and where to stay, and they're going elsewhere due to this outdated legislation. Just yesterday, I was working brunch in our dining room and had to tell multiple guests no to beverage requests, and their response was, "Wow, really? These laws still exist?" It's pretty simple. This bill is not a pro-alcohol bill. This is a pro-business bill. This is pure economic development. This bill removes unfair barriers to business. We've done the math. If the brunch bill is approved, the Bavarian Inn alone could add 10 jobs, increase revenues by close to $75,000 a year. That's a Bavarian Inn alone. Add the Greenbrier, Snowshoe, Stonewall Resort, and so many others to this pot. Imagine what this could mean to tourism industry statewide. This bill does three things. It creates jobs, it increases private and state revenues with no new taxes and no extra work, and most importantly, it improves our guests' experiences, improves their perception of our state. This outdated legislation is hurting our statewide image. It is perpetuating the stereotype that West Virginia is behind the times. We're working hard to show guests that West Virginia is a great state with great people and great beauty as far as the eye can see. Let's stop telling our visitors no. Let's give them the same conveniences they have at home or in other states. I thank you for your support of this bill, and I thank you for supporting tourism statewide. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. Natalie Roper, followed by Carol Azam.
Thank you. I'm the Executive Director of Generation West Virginia, an organization dedicated to attracting and retaining young talent in the Mountain State. As the only state in the country with a declining population, it's clear that we are losing too many of our best and brightest opportunities in other states. This bill would create jobs for this generation, additional wages and payroll for young workers, and increase tax revenue needed to move our state forward. The West Virginia Chamber estimates an additional $20 million per year in new restaurant sales, thousands of additional hours and wages, and several thousand job opportunities in our resorts, golf courses, tourism destinations, and restaurants that want to serve Sunday brunch. According to the National Young Invincibles report, younger millennials predominantly work in service industries, including leisure and hospitality or retail and wholesale. This bill creates jobs and additional wages in an industry that young West Virginians depend on for employment. Beyond job creation, this legislation is important for promoting a quality of place attractive to the younger generation we are trying hard to attract and retain in the state. Traditionally, we've thought that people choose to move to a state largely based on employment availability and career aspirations. But among today's young talent, there's a strong preference for quality of place. When asked to choose between moving to where job prospects were best or choosing where they want to live and looking for a job there, college-educated young adults chose the latter statement by a 2-to-1 margin. Building great, livable places encourages a concentration of talent that helps economies thrive. For this generation, brunch has become an important social offering that matters to an area's quality of place. Studies show that young adults now spend more money on food and events than clothing, and Time magazine claims that millennials choose to spend more time planning brunch than even looking for a date. The weekend brunch has become just as popular a social outing as the weeknight dinner with friends. To be clear, what might sound like young professionals socializing is actually money being spent in our local economies, photos being taken and posted on social media promoting our local establishments and state, and important personal connections and social offerings that retain critical young talent in West Virginia to live, work, and contribute to the state's tax revenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roper. Carol Azam, followed by Rob Lowe.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Carol Azam, past president of the Shepherdstown Visitor Center and board member, and also a founding member of the Jefferson County CVB some years ago. And I felt it was my responsibility to take a pulse of the local businesses and local churches alike, just to gauge the interest in the passing of this brunch bill. I'm happy to report that response to this bill was favorably unanimous by business as well as our church leaders. And to that, because we had just a short period of time, I garnered 2 supportive letters. I will read one to you that comes from a very renowned church leader in our town. And he said, and I read, "To the West Virginia state legislators, I am writing in support of the brunch bill. I have served the Shepherdstown Presbyterian Church as its pastor since 1976. On many Sundays after church, I have taken out-of-state guests or visiting clergy to lunch or brunch at one of our local restaurants. Some of my guests have ordered an adult beverage, only to be told by servers that serving such a beverage is disallowed before 1 o'clock by state law. My guests' shock even turns to disbelief with such a blue law still exists in the 21st century. I feel embarrassed for my state. I explain as best as I can, and to its intent, or so I've been told, was to encourage the citizens of Mountaineers Are Free state to go to church instead of a local bar. But in this case, there is no freedom to make an adult choice. The law treats our adult citizens as though they were juveniles in need of coercion. It's disrespectful. I appreciate the intent of the law, but I do not believe it is necessary. I see no religious reasons for or benefits of this law. Many churches now have services as early as 9 a.m. Sunday mornings. Many enjoy freedom to worship earlier than the traditional hour of 11 o'clock, and many enjoy going out for brunch with friends afterwards. Family and friends will continue to visit, but I've heard that would-be tourists now think twice about visiting Shepherdstown on Sundays. Please pass the brunch bill. I believe it will increase tourism and create a few more jobs for our state. It will make many people happy, and I'm all for making people happy by giving people choices. Sincerely, Randy Trember, the Presbyterian minister. I thank you for your time. In closing, I just say this is a win-win bill for our state. It's a tourist pleaser, an excellent early way, easy way to garner extra taxes without a burden on anybody. And I thank you very much for your time, and hope you do right by our beloved state. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Azam. Rob Lowe, I guess it is. Lowe, followed by Duane Freeman.
Yes, I'm Rob Lowe, and I'm a farmer in the Eastern Panhandle. I grow lemons, raspberry, ginger, walnuts, and pumpkins. I'm also owner of an agritourism business in the Eastern Panhandle, and we're coming up on our 5th year anniversary. And in the 4 seasons that we've been open, we've entertained about 70,000 visitors. 90% of my visitors join us from out of state. That is a significant number, in that when they come to visit us, they leave behind those out-of-state cash forward. This is a craft distilling business, And in the state of West Virginia, I think we have 14 now. When we started up 4 years ago, we had 6. And you would think that that's very good growth. However, if we look at the state of New York or state of California, there are about 125 in each of those states. A law like this, improving touristic opportunity on Sunday, would greatly enhance our winning potential, both as on the business level and on this very simple. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Losey. Duane Freeman, followed by Michael Folio.
Good morning. I'm Duane Freeman with Appalachian Distillery. We're a local business, relatively new business, so it's, you know how hard it is on startups, but you hear all the benefits of the 3-hour time difference for alcohol. You can imagine not being able to open at all on Sunday. So I get lots of phone calls, people wanting to stop by, but we're not open. I mean, not just for the alcohol, for tours of our facility. We've got a 10,000 square foot facility, not to mention our gift shop with trinkets and West Virginia souvenirs. And for a startup business, I mean, it's really difficult anyway. This would really help. We have traction signs on the interstate. We have lots of out-of-state people and out-of-country people that stop in, and I think Sunday would be a great day for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Michael Folio, followed by Karen.
Some of them actually for the past 30 years, farm wineries or farm distilleries, etc. And so I'm here hoping that you all would pass this bill, move it on to move our state forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Folio. Karen Price, followed by Rick Cavender.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Karen Price, and along with my colleague, Edward George, I appear today on behalf of the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States, which is the national and international trade association for manufacturers and crafters of distilled spirits. We support and urge passage of Senate Bill 298 as it stands in support of our many fine restaurants, resorts, and hotels and other establishments that not only provide fine dining and recreational services to the people of our state, but also visitors who come to West Virginia by the tens of thousands. This is legislation that will allow West Virginia to better compete against our neighbors for these tourism dollars. It is an economic development and a revenue-generating bill. It will generate several millions of dollars of tax dollars without raising any taxes or imposing any new taxes. 298 is what the businesses and the tourism industry in West Virginia want and what we need. We urge your support and passage of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Rick Cavender, followed by Keeley Steal.
Thank you very much for having me this morning. I'm Rick Cavender. I'm the Executive Director of Charleston Main Streets. We are a certified nonprofit economic and community development organization and affiliate of Main Street, West Virginia. We also have sister programs in Morgantown, Wheeling, Fairmont, Point Pleasant, Kingwood, many other, and Martinsburg on the Eastern Panhandle, of course. We represent hundreds of small businesses on the west side and east end of Charleston, a percentage of which are very popular destination restaurants that help us accomplish our mission, creating a diverse local economy by fostering the growth of small downtown business and harvesting a unique experience for tourists and visitors while providing necessary goods and services for surrounding neighborhoods and cities. Last year, this exact same group almost unanimously passed Senate Bill 273. This bipartisan bill's purpose was to incentivize the growth of the West Virginia craft beer industry and expand the filling of the sale of growlers to restaurants and pubs, not just certified breweries. Not only did this bill make West Virginia more competitive with surrounding states, it also, just in its first 10 months of passage, has opened up brand new revenue streams for distributors, craft breweries, and certainly local small business. It proved that when government loosens its restrictions, small business can flourish, continue to be tourist destinations, remain competitive with surrounding states, and diversify its revenue streams. The brunch bill can also prove to do just that, offer small business, local destinations, the places that make West Virginia a place to visit and stay, not just anywhere USA, an opportunity to increase revenues at a time when so many of them are already struggling with extremely limited marketing budgets and employ hundreds upon hundreds of people throughout our state. Businesses within our designated districts that have the advantage of a strong Main Street organization representing them rely on us to assist with their marketing and advertising endeavors. In short, I urge the House leadership to continue the spirit of encouraging entrepreneurship and small business growth that Senate Bill 273 accomplished, and afford the House an opportunity to vote on this bill that will help small business maximize profits and increase tourism in an already struggling economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cavender. Keeley Steal, followed by Valerie Street.
Good morning. My name is Keeley Steal. My husband and I actually own 3 small restaurants that are just 2 blocks away from these chambers. We've been open for over 10 years. We employ over 50 people. We are open at 10 a.m. on Sundays regardless. We are actually open longer on Sunday afternoon or Sunday mornings without the opportunity to serve alcohol than we are with. We close at 3 o'clock. We choose to open on Sundays anyway. We're here to serve our neighborhood. We're here to serve the tourists. 10 years ago, before the advent of these lovely cell phones that we all have now, people would trip off the interstate accidentally, exit 99, expecting to find businesses and restaurants near the state capitol, and there weren't any. There are now. Now we have TripAdvisor, we have Yelp. People are looking for certain things. They're looking for brunch. They're looking for the opportunity to have a cocktail at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm one of the people that Elisa Bailey referred to. I have 50 employees. Many of those employees are single moms. My single moms love to work brunch. It's fast-paced. This previous Sunday, just yesterday, at 1 o'clock, we had 22 bottles of champagne come through. I have 3 servers on the floor and 1 bartender, and that's pretty hard to keep up with. I would urge you to pass this bill to put money in our employees' pockets. Those employees are going to go out and they're going to spend money in other local businesses. I would add that, our food philosophy has always been to try to keep it local as possible. We spend a lot of our revenue dollars supporting local ranchers, local growers. We're part of the people that spend our money in the local distillers that have invested their money in the state as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Steele. Valerie Street, followed by Mark Cherry.
Hello, I'm Valerie Street with the Blossom Dairy. As y'all know, we opened November of 15. We also have another establishment in St. Albans called Easy Street. We've had that for 4 years. Having the Blossom Dairy, yesterday was our first launch of our brunch. We opened at 10 a.m. and we waited and we waited. A couple stragglers came in. About 12:45, we were flooded, and they waited until 1 o'clock for a mimosa or a Bloody Mary. I can say not a single one of them left completely drunk at all. They probably had about 1 to 2 mimosas, 1 to 2 Bloody Marys, had their brunch, and they left. We dialed off about 2 o'clock. If I could get people in at 10:30, I could rotate those tables and double my sales, which would, in turn, bring more taxes into the state. And I know a lot of the small business around here has been affected by the storm that hit in January. And I know a lot of you guys are still trying to catch up with that. Any little bit that can help with getting back us off our feet for these things that happen, and we are in inclement weather anyways, and the water crisis, anything that can help with our revenue to build, can help with taxes, can help take the stresses off small businesses in general. So we asked to get this bill passed to help. I think everybody wins in this. Except this is not a bill that get everybody drinking at 10:30 and get smashed, just to help tourism, get everything going in this state. So I don't know who would lose in this situation. I think everybody would win. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Street. Mark Cherry.
Good morning. My name is Mark Cherry. I'm the general manager at the Embassy Suites Hotel, and I urge support of this bill. We do about 60 weddings a year at our hotel, and many of those involve people from out of the state coming in to coordinate weddings. And an important question they often ask is, can we arrange for a brunch on a Sunday before our guests check out? And the answer, obviously, at this time is no. We are not able to serve alcohol before 1 o'clock. If you take what the Embassy Suites can do, and I know that we'll generate a significant amount of revenue, I know that we'll need to put on an extra person or two. I know that if we have a 100-person brunch on a Sunday morning, that we're going to need 2 or 3 extra employees plus a bartender. I know that that is replicated throughout all of the hotels and conference centers that are surrounding this state. This hotel, my hotel may be small fry compared to the Greenbrier. The money that those guys are leaving on the table right now is astronomical. I ask you to think about the positives of this bill. There is no downside. We're serving brunch. It's not like you can come in and not have a fine meal to get your mimosa or your Bloody Mary. That's part of the whole package. But it's important to recognize this is opportunity. This is low-hanging fruit, as Rob said, and this is probably the easiest money that's out there on the table these days. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cherry. Ladies and gentlemen, our committee is scheduled to be in meeting here shortly, so we're not going to have time for questions. But I will ask members, and I'll ask the presenters to stick around for a few minutes. If members have questions of individual presenters, please take a minute and ask those while they're here. But from the standpoint of our schedule, we have a lot of work still to do today and tomorrow. So our committee will convene in about 10 minutes. Please, after you've asked your questions, come straight to the committee room so we can get started. Thank you. We are adjourned.
You've been watching a public hearing on Senate Bill 298 relating to allowing restaurants, private clubs, distilleries, mini distilleries, and wineries to sell and serve alcohol beginning at 10 a.m. on Sundays. It's nicknamed the Brunch Bill. That does it for this public hearing. We will be back at 11 o'clock with action from the floors of the State Senate and the House of Delegates. Until then, I'm Beth Voorhees for the West Virginia Channel, a service of West Virginia Public Broadcasting.